Hi everyone, my name is Soovin and I am currently a second year at UWC Red Cross Nordic in Norway. And today I'm going to be sharing some of my UWC application process and also some tips that I have, because I personally found these videos really helpful when I was applying, and now that I am actually a UWC student, I want to share some of the knowledge and some of the tips that I've acquired along the way. So yeah, I firstly want to start off with a disclaimer that experiences are very different across different NCs. So I know that some NCs are very selective, like there are tens of thousands of applicants and only like 20 people are selected, or there's some NCs where it's less competitive and they also select more people. So speaking kind of from personal experience, I'm not exactly sure how many people apply to UWC Korea, but on average, every year they select around 4 people from the South Korean National Committee. So yeah, it's just very important to keep in mind that experiences are very different across different NCs. Okay, now I'll move on to the written application. So first tip is to be more lighthearted. Now, so this means kind of rather than being really serious, try to be more lighthearted and sound actually like a teenager. Now, when I finished my written application, I sent it to some of, my trusted friends and also like an old English tutor who went to UWC LPC, and one of the tips that she gave me was to make my essay and my short answer questions much more lighthearted and use exclamation marks, don't be so serious because obviously when you're applying to UWC you are a teenager, you're not some kind of academic, so make sure the tone of your essays and also your like answers kind of reflect that you are just a 16, 17, or in my case, a 15-year-old. Yeah, and also this is pretty like a solid tip because sometimes UWC likes to ask kind of like unserious questions. I remember for like some of my short answer questions, there was a question like, describe yourself as a color or like choose a superpower. So these aren't like, just the questions itself aren't that serious. So your answers also don't have to be like super serious. Like make sure it has like meaning and a purpose and also like logic behind why you chose it. But at the same time, you don't have to be like 100% serious. Yeah. And so kind of more on this point, like you don't have to have cured cancer or try to solve like global issues like income inequality or like racial discrimination, like anything like that, like when a lot of essays will ask you about kind of social or community issues, within like your local community. And, like I feel like a lot of people kind of bite off more than they can chew. Like they try to solve this kind of huge systemic injustice in their local community when, like I said earlier, we're really just teenagers. So another tip would be to take problems that you can actually have an impact on, or actionable things that you've done. And the last tip is to show academic interest in your essays. And this doesn't really have to be in your written application, but also through like extracurriculars and things like that. But since the IB, like which is the course that all UWC students take, is a very rigorous academic program, it's good that if you demonstrate, that you have academic interest and that you are able to like actually pursue, like academic stuff on your own. So like, for example, you don't need to have like the best grades. Like UWC really isn't like that academic. Like I can confidently say that now that I've been at UWC for over a year. Obviously so many more important factors than just academics that shapes your UWC experience. So you don't need to have the most perfect, like straight A grades, but it's also important that you demonstrate your interest because, you will be doing the IB. Now I have a few tips for the interview. And the first tip is going to be really, really obvious, but you need to practice. I know it seems daunting to like speak to, do like mock interviews with your friends or your parents. Like personally, like I just really didn't like speaking in front of my parents. Like I don't know why. But it really was useful to do mock interviews because, like in your head, you can plan all these things that you want to say, but it's so different actually like speaking to an actual human being. And so especially if you don't have like prior professional or like interview experience before, I think it's so, so, so important that you practice with an actual human being. Like like filming a video or doing it on Zoom doesn't count. Like just with an actual person in front of you, I think you should practice. And there's like a lot of UWC interview questions that are recycled, I feel like, through different NCs and through different years. So if that's something that people are interested in, like that's definitely something that I can do. Second tip is to be enthusiastic. And because obviously UWC wants people that are active and engaging. I mean, this doesn't mean that you have to be like the most extroverted person ever. Like personally, I am quite an introverted person. So like you don't have to like be super outgoing or anything like that, but just make sure you demonstrate interest. I think that's so important. Make sure that the national committee or like whatever selection committee that you are going through knows that you're interested and that you actually want to be there. And finally this is kind of a cliche, but be confident in yourself because this really, really shows, especially in in-person interviews. Mine were online, but if you are in person, then just be confident in yourself. Like you've got this. Just, I feel like take it lighthearted, but also, be passionate. And I feel like things always go well for people who, take on a more lighthearted approach and people who like are genuinely passionate. I feel like always they have really good outcomes. So that's pretty much all of the tips that I have. I know it seems really daunting like right now. I mean, it is the summer, so I guess a lot of people won't have started their application yet. But if you are thinking of applying, yeah, definitely go for it. As I said, the experience varies a lot between different national committees. But, like being at a UWC, it's such a unique experience. And I'm sure that if you are already considering applying, then you're going to be a great fit for this school. And yeah, if there's any more content that you guys want, for example, stats or extracurriculars, I found those videos helpful as well. Or you have any questions about like really anything, just leave them down in the comments and I will make sure to answer as many of them as possible. So yeah, thank you so much for watching till the end. Good luck on everybody's application process. And yeah, thank you so much.